Hello everyone, and I'm TV Hari. Today we're going to be doing the TryHackMe room. Do not disturb. This is one of the hardest rooms to date, and even though it's rated medium, it took me a really long time to figure it out. And let's see what we're going to have to do here. This is a boot to root challenge, and we have the room briefing here. I'm not going to read it out because it doesn't have much. It doesn't give us much clues about the actual room, and it involves privilege escalation because it asks for a user flag and a root flag. Okay, so first of all, I've already given this a go, so you can see my setup already. We turn on intercept in burp suite and connect it to the proxy using foxy proxy. Here we try using the username attendant. I tried multiple brute forces, but if you use the username attendant, it works. Other user IDs after manual curl inspection give you the role as guest, but if you do it as attendant, you get the role as staff. So, and you keep any random password. I'm just using a single letter, and burp intercepted it. Now we take this and in my previous repeated request we have this one. So after a bit of curl and inspection, we found out that it accepts MongoDB parameters like this $sign and $e. So we're just going to use this one, keep it into the proxies request, and if we forward it and forward all the responses that come after it, we go back to Firefox and find out that we've signed in as a staff. Most of the time we get a 403 forbidden, and we can use this now. So we can check it by using the command. So we have our reverse shell prepared here. It's a really big one, the second reverse shell. I'll explain that one later as we progress through the room. So here we have the first reverse shell. It's a standard reverse shell spawning /bin/bash, and we have our IP address here. I have been using the same machine. So this is EJS Express Node.js. Use that here. Okay, and in the meanwhile, we're going to start a listener. We have a listener on port 4444. We're just going to forward all that, and we're going to turn off the intercept because we don't need it anymore. Then we have received a reverse shell, RCE confirmed, and that is how you get the first reverse shell. So let's review what we did. We exploited a NoSQL in like circumstance, and we got a reverse shell because of this EJS code execution SSTI. So from here we have to do privilege escalation. But before that, I'm going to tell you how to find the user flag since we're already in the account. So after completing the room, one thing I observed is that if you're a higher user, we never actually get to root here to get the flag. We have other methods by switching to a user with higher privileges to get the flag. But as of now, we have zero permissions to read the root flag. But when you get to that account which can read the root flag, you won't be able to read the normal flag. So let's just do it here. Cat /*//user.txt, and there you go. We have the flag. I'm just going to hit enter lots of times to make the flag disappear. Okay, yeah. And now we get to the privilege escalation part. So basically we have the reverse shell here. Okay, the indenting here is bad. I'm just going to have to do this thing again. Okay, so we have our exploit script back here in Notepad. So we're going to have to start a new listener here. Since 4444 is since 4444 is already occupied, we're going to use 4445, and we're just going to hit enter on that. Done. Okay, now we execute it using node.js. If you want the code, I'm going to keep it in the description below so you can check it for the reverse shell code, because it's really long and it was a bit complex. So now we're going to execute it using node /tmp/ins.js, and here we input our IP, and since my attack box IP is 10.112.95.199, and we have to enter our listener port. First, let's start our listener, then we'll execute this, and we have a reverse shell here. So if you're observing something, we are poolside here, but we are pipeline service here, which is a higher privilege account. So now from here, to find the flag, we have two methods. One, using lsblk, we can find it, and we find a place called nvme0 and 1p1 from lsblk, and by running another command, it was a disk check with a we basically checked the disk for what had root permissions, and we found this directory /dev/nvme0 and 1p1. So we have multiple methods here. We're going to use the short method. You run these two commands and you get the flag. Even though you're not the root user, it has root permissions to run in this directory. So let's just run the first command. You can find the whole thing, root.txt, which is the flag. And if I hit enter, since I pasted two commands, we have the flag. So that is exactly how you solve the room do not disturb. And if first, let's review what we did. We started by finding the like bypass of authentication using a MongoDB parameter that was accepted. And it actually took me a long time to find out which username was actually accepted as staff, because if you go ahead and do some research on your own and do curl I and a few commands by experimenting with the requests, you will find out that most of the time, if you post it as admin, guest, any user, and try to define yourself as staff, it will not work. It will just turn you down and keep you as guest. The only account that actually turns you into the staff as an attendant is the account attendant. So make sure to use that username. As far as I know, the other usernames don't work. If you find another method, feel free to share it in the comments. So that is how you find those flags, and let's go on to the next step, which we did. We ran a reverse shell in the command to elevate our privileges and get into the directory that let us have raw disk access. And that raw disk access was the exact thing that got us root.txt. So that is how you solve the room do not disturb. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, share and subscribe. Feel free to share your opinions in the comments and follow for more walkthroughs.